Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Well, the expected hit piece against whistleblower David Grusch has landed in the debrief written by reporter, a journalist named Ken Klippenstein. Basically, he, according to this article, it wasn't a leak. It was one of Grusch's former colleagues who contacted this Ken Klippenstein and told him about Grusch's past issues with PTSD and his and Klippenstein ended up filing a Freedom of Information Act request with the sheriff's department, and that's how he received the information. But he won't give the name of the person who leaked this information to Klippenstein, this former colleague, I guess a Pentagon insider, pretty much as we expected. I mean, but this is how they're doing it. They did it this way. So we have to point out that, yes, the Ross Coulthart, stating yesterday that this was that what happened was there was an internal leak, that this medical records of Grusch were supplied by somebody from within illegally. That's not true. However, the information was provided by somebody on the inside about Grusch's past, and this person contacted Ken Klippenstein, who, by the way, is, let's read his Wikipedia page here. It says, Klippenstein is a self-described Freedom of Information Act nerd. Much of his journalism draws on information he has uncovered from records requested at state and national levels of the United States government. He invites individuals to leak information to him via the encrypted messaging service Signal. So that's why we could probably assume that's Klippenstein received this information this way. I mean, this guy, apparently he's a establishment hack, and he just tries to make sensational stories. And actually, he's a terrible reporter because some of the information that he has in his article is false, and we'll get into that. But however, this is still a hit piece no matter which way you want to look at it. I will leave the link so you can check out this entire trashy article for yourself. Basically, it gets into what happened recently since the hearing. What Grusch had talked about 2 weeks ago today, actually. There was the House Oversight Committee hearing, so he lays that all out, right? But then a paragraph later in there says, but police records obtained by the Intercept under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act revealed that on October 1st, 2018, Grusch was committed to a mental health facility based in part on a report that he made a suicidal statement after Grusch's wife told him he was an alcoholic and suggested that he get help. So that's what Klippenstein did. He dug up these records, these personal records. I mean, I guess you could get them legally, Freedom of Information Act style. But Klippenstein was obviously alerted to this whole story via one of Grusch's former colleagues, right? But that colleague's not mentioned. I want to say what it says about that later on. It says here, a former colleague of Grusch's expressed shock that he retained his clearance after the 2014 incident. And there was another incident that he gets into here that happened in 2014, which was also documented in public records obtained by the Intercept. I think it's like any insular group. Once you're in, they generally protect their own, said the former colleague, who asked not to be named because they feared professional reprisals. Yeah, this guy doesn't want to say his name, his former, quote, colleague, end quote, right? Doesn't want to tell his name to the public, right? But he has no problem shoving Grusch under the bus. So he's trying to make it sound like, oh yeah, the government's just protecting their own. That's the only reason they kept him on. That's why he was allowed to keep his clearances, according to this colleague. Right. The former colleague said that the 2014 incident was known to Grusch's superiors, a claim that Coulthart appeared to confirm in an interview on News Nation, a subscriptions television network owned by Nexstar Media. The intelligence community and the Defense Department clearly accepted there was no issue because he was allowed to keep his security clearance, Coulthart told Chris Cuomo. And then Klippenstein reports on the information that he found in the Freedom of Information Act request, which is ugly information, obviously, when somebody's going through PTSD and the cops need to be called and there's threats of suicide. Of course, the nitty-gritty details are always going to be ugly. But Klippenstein and the jackass who contacted him, Grusch's former, quote, colleague, end quote, right, who contacted him and set Klippenstein on this path to go get this information, right, they know how this is going to look to the many people in the public, because you know what the mainstream media is going to do. They're going to point out this stuff, the ugly things that happened in Grusch's life in the past. They're going to say, "See, how can you trust this guy?" That's what they're going to do, because that's what they are. It's all scumbags. Anyway, including Klippenstein. Klippenstein's an absolute creep. What a creep! What a piece of what a scumbag! All right, but that's how he makes his living. That's how he's making his living, reporting, doing things like this. So yeah, on the evening of October 1st, 2018, Grusch's wife contacted the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office to report that Grusch was drunk and suicidal. She told him that he was an alcoholic and that he needed to get help. He replied, "I've just been waiting for you to kill me." This is okay. He was hospitalized and things. He was received treatment, and he was back on the job. And you can see with the interviews that he had with Coulthard and the hearing, when he was at the hearing, the questions he asked, right? You can see that he's okay. He had some problems in the past. Doesn't everyone have problems in the past? Everybody has problems in the past. I bet Ken Klippenstein has some problems in the past. And then there was another police report dated October 13th, 2014, describes a similar incident. A 27-year-old male threatening suicide at a property the county records show was owned at the time by Grusch and his wife. That property has since been sold. The report notes that he is violent and had access to a weapon. So, and then it gets into how he got this information. He talks, Klippenstein, his story changed because of the stuff that happened last night, because Grusch and Coulthard, they wanted to get ahead of this. And his story changed, and Klippenstein obviously was paying attention. And so he talked about what's been going on here. And also he was talking about comments that were made by Tim Burchett and Anna Luna. It says here, 2 Republican members of the House Oversight Committee, Representatives Anna Luna and Tim Burchett, were tasked with organizing the July 26th hearing after Grusch's whistleblower case became public. Not all House Republicans are supportive of the effort. Representative Mike Turner, chair of the House Intelligence Committee, has taken a dim view of Grusch's claims. Of course, they got to mention Mike Turner, right? We're going to get into all of this in a minute. Every decade, there's been individuals who've said the United States has such pieces of unidentified flying objects that are from outer space. Turner said there's no evidence of this, and certainly it would be quite a conspiracy for this to be maintained, especially at this level. We're going to just skip through this. You need to check out this article for yourself. I don't want to get into it all. He does go over a lot of stuff we've already talked about here. But basically what this was designed to do is the hit piece. That's all that's happened, okay? In fact, when you look at the last 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks ago today was the hearing, and what have I been talking about on this podcast for the past 2 weeks? Well, let's look at what some of the stuff I've published here, some of the podcast titles. All right, we'll go through them. Right, since this happened, since we've been talking about this. First off, okay, one of the day after. The day after that hearing, I did a podcast about how the mainstream media disappoints with UFO hearing coverage. Basically, that's what I saw. I saw that on TV with my own eyes. I saw different news outlets basically either not talking about it or talking about it very little, not making much statement about it, right? And then there was some op-eds published. UFO debunker pens desperate op-ed, okay? That was Jason Colavito. He wrote a terrible opinion piece that was filled with half-truths and lies for CNN. That was one of the other things I talked about, right? So ever since this hearing, right, we've been getting this stuff, and this is what you're getting. This is the secret control group / Pentagon insiders who want this to stay bottled up. That this is what they're doing. They're pushing this. This phone, they're trying to make the witnesses look terrible. And the other thing that this does, what they're trying to do with this. With the Grusch business is they're trying to, this will scare other potential whistleblowers away. That's what they're trying to do. Okay, you want to come out and blow the whistle? Well, look what we're doing to this guy. We're going to drag him through the mud. That's what we're going to do. And it's been going on for the past 2 weeks, and now it's culminated today with this garbage. Okay, what else have I talked about here? in the past couple of weeks. The SETI astronomer, Seth Shostak, undies in a bunch over Grusch assertions, right? Okay, so somebody felt, hey, somebody in the part of the government effort to keep this all hushed up, somebody obviously said, hey, why don't we get that idiot Shostak up there? That's that SETI cultist, the head of the SETI nuts. We'll get him up there. We'll get him to write an op-ed. Send him out. Right? Of course, that's probably not. Who knows? That's what it seems. That's what it could seem like to a lot of people, though, right? But the one, Mike Turner, right? They send Mike Turner out, the representative from Ohio, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, right? Because guess what? This guy receives over the past 10 years, well over $1 million from the military-industrial complex. I mean, people, groups like Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, he's getting the money from these guys, a lot more than a lot of other people in Congress. And so what does he do? They traipse him out onto Fox News over a week ago or whatever, saying, oh, there's just no evidence of this. This is absolutely ridiculous, absurd. There could never be a cover-up like this. That's because he's pushed out there. Hey, Mike, listen, you got to go on Fox, talk to those people on Fox. Go on that Maria Bartiromo show. She only asks softball questions all the time. She's part of she's just an establishment hack, right? Go on her show. You'll get to say whatever you want. Just go on there and just make it seem like it's all stupid and foolish. Go ahead. Don't worry. We'll get you reelected. There's a bunch of dummies there in that district in Ohio that you live in. We'll run so many commercials, they'll be dreaming about them. They'll be programmed to vote for you on election day. Don't worry about it. So just go out and do our bidding. Hey, we're the ones who put you there in the first place. Don't forget that, Mike. Let's see, Captain Kirk, actually William Shatner himself. I'm wondering if somebody bent his ear and says, hey, Bill, you know me, I'm a good friend, longtime friend. How about you go out on TV, say this whole nonsense, call that whole hearing last week a bunch of nonsense, say it's ridiculous, say you don't believe in this stuff. Go ahead, Bill. I wonder if somebody bent William Shatner's ear. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. What else have I talked about over the last couple? Oh yeah, the United Kingdom, the Ministry of Defense. We don't know anything about crash retrievals. Yeah, nothing. That's crazy talk. We don't know anything. Oh, and then another big one that we talked about over the last 2 weeks. What else happened over the last 2 weeks? The top general, Mark Milley, comes out. I don't know anything about UFOs or reverse engineering programs or aliens. I don't know anything about that. Nobody's ever showed me that. And I'm the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Yeah, they're sending them out there in force. And now they're doing this, right? They're doing this. Because why? Why? Because they want to try to make it difficult for they want other whistleblowers to think twice. Think twice before you come out and say anything, right? You better think twice, you idiots. Okay, what? I did a poll. Just yesterday. Let's see what the results are at as of today. Just not even not even 24 hours ago, a little over 12 hours ago, I posted this poll. I asked this question: is the smear campaign against Grusch a ploy by the secret UFO control group to scare away other potential whistleblowers from testifying? So far, there's only 38 votes, and there's 29 days left. And 37 people, or 97.4%, say yes, while only one person, or 2.6%, say no. That was probably Mick West. But, yeah, that's what's going on here. I mean, you can see it very clearly. But just let's see, Klippenstein here, this guy thinks he's so intelligent, getting all this information through FOIA and stuff like that and reporting the news. That's what he thinks he's doing, right? He's smearing this guy. He's part of a smear campaign. And whether he knows it or not, that's what's going on here. And at the end of this, he has this section here, Echoes of Roswell, and guess what? You guessed it. What he's doing here, right? He's basically towing the Pentagon line up with regard to Roswell, saying that was all figured out a long time ago. It was only a weather balloon. That's basically what he says here. We'll read a little bit of this where he says this. During the committee hearing, Luna referenced the 1947 discovery of mysterious aerial debris in the desert in Roswell, New Mexico, as evidence of long-standing contact with UFOs. Jesse A. Marcel, a military intelligence officer and, like Grusch, an Air Force major at the time, said that the debris was extraterrestrial in nature, but it later became clear that it was actually the remains of a weather balloon designed to detect atmospheric conditions indicative of Russian nuclear testing. When did it become clear? This idiot never did any research on it. Ken Klippenstein, you just outed yourself. You're a dope. You're a dummy. You didn't do any investigation into this. You wouldn't be writing a stupid sentence like that. You would never say something like that. Anybody with some intelligence who did some research into this subject would never write something stupid like that. Obviously, you're not even a good investigative reporter. You didn't do your homework here. You didn't cross your T's or dot your I's. Obviously, you're a dope. You're a dummy, idiot. You're part of this, whether you know it or not. I think you're probably a useful idiot. That's probably. So Grusch's quote colleague end quote who contacted you knew that you were a dope, and that's why he's the mark. Let's call up that Ken Klippenstein. Let me tell you what, this guy he's an establishment hack. He'll do anything. He's dumb too, right? He'll write it up just basically as it's almost like a press release. He'll be doing a press release for us, but he'll gussy it up, make it look nice there on the debrief. That's what he'll do. Yeah, he's a dope. Let's send Grusch's quote colleague end quote to Klippenstein. That guy's an idiot. That's what happened, Ken. You're an idiot. Either that or you're part of it. I don't think so, though. I think you're an idiot based on this one. Based on that paragraph right there, Ken Klippenstein's an idiot. Sorry, Ken. You need to do some more research next time. Anyway, for many years, the Pentagon, here's what he says. For many years, the Pentagon refused to explain the weather balloon's true purpose due to its highly classified nature as part of Project Mogul, a top-secret Air Force program designed to detect Soviet bomb tests. Many took the secrecy, which was indeed excessive, to mean that the government must be covering up the existence of extraterrestrial aircraft. Aftergood said the misconception at the heart of the recent House hearing is similar to the legends that grew out of the events in Roswell. Legends. Actually, the legend that came out of Roswell is the fact is that folklore that the Army, the Air Force has been telling us for all these years. That's the legend, that it was just a balloon and that the bodies that people saw were anthropomorphic bodies that fell from the sky in the 50s years later. That's the misconception. That's the legend. Anyway, the embarrassment of the House hearings stems not so much from the issue itself, but from the failure to distinguish what is real from what is fantasy. But anyway, you know what? There you go. The article is most certainly a hit piece. Ken Klippenstein is just a useful idiot for Grusch's, quote, colleague, end quote, and that's the end of the story. You saw what's been going on here for the past 2 weeks, ever since this thing started. We all know what's going on now. It's very clear. Hey, they're trying to send a message out to the other whistleblowers. Better watch out. Better watch out. Look what we're going to do to you if you testify. You better keep your mouth shut. We'll drag your name through the mud. Well, you know what? It's time for people to start digging up dirt on these people that are putting out these trash articles. That's what it's time to start doing in my book. That's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start looking up dirt on other people and then just putting it out there and say, I don't know. I don't know. It's not a hit piece. I'm just doing my job. Maybe that's what I'll start doing. Yeah. Anyway, until next time.